Why you do this, Michael?
So we're making this an ASMR? Are you guys that desperate for views?
Wait, what?
Just
Wait,
eat your
something
cookies.
wrong?
Just eat your cookies.
Oh, are you guys just mad that I'm eating a cookie?
No, we're just ready, but at the same time, you are hungry. So
I am hangry. That is one of the downsides of it.
Listen, man, I get paid by the hour, so the longer you stall, the more I get paid.
Says who?
It's in my contract, boys. I'll have my lawyer draw it
You
up.
do not send over your contract to us. You are my sibling. That's not how this works.
People gonna think I'm horrible. This is a bit. This is a bit.
how does this work?
I said I was okay with getting paid by the hour. I can't continue this bit. I don't want people to think I'm a jerk.
Oh, that's part of the fun, though. It's like this is merely a vignette. That's why people should join the Discord server so they get to know exactly how we
Shameless self-promotion. Animators Assembled. Join now.
So I just spent those past couple seconds devouring
Choking?
my Kalamazoo cookie from Danyo. I was crunching and munching into the mic so that way we could potentially pitch an ASMR segment on the channel, because we should probably diversify our content. What better time and place to start than now, with my best friend and my sister approving of my creative endeavors as I explore experimental
all
content.
of your creative endeavors.
En-devours.
More endeavors, more like En-devours.
Yeah,
am I right?
Yes, that's what I just said.
Please show yourself out.
Are you finished eating your cookies?
Yes, I finished eating the cookie. I finished the cookie as part of the previous bit.
All right.
So, hello everyone, and welcome to yet another installment of the Animators Assembled Podcast. I am one of the co-hosts, Stealthabotte.
Hi, I am Project422 Films. I am also a co-host.
And I know our budget has been a little bit strained lately after we had a double up on guests with the Forgotten Tactic, as well as Moose the Creator in our previous two episodes. Please feel free to check those out, as well as our earlier episodes too. But today we strained the budget just a little bit further to triple up. We're going out with a bang in terms of guests for right now, with none other than DeannaStar7.
Hello, everyone. My name is DeannaStar7, aka DeannaStar7, and I'm a voice actress and content creator.
And fun fact, we're siblings, in case you didn't know that already.
Yeah.
A lot of people actually don't know that. It's very fun when I get asked roles and I say, "Oh, have you cast my brother Stealthabotte in this?" And they go, "You guys are related?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're siblings."
Yeah. And sometimes we've had to lose roles for each other because of that. But it's okay. It's all good.
It's okay. Wipes the tear. It's okay. I'm just
many Karen Page
Yeah,
opportunities.
he's just like, oh man, I'm gonna miss out on this 20-second. I don't know. How many times have you voiced Daredevil at this point?
It's Daredevil
Never
every
enough.
time.
Never
Every time.
enough, never. All right, now we just got a copyright strike. But yeah, today's episode, we're going to be talking about voice acting. So auditioning and casting and kind of the process from pre-production into post-production when it comes to being an actor or being a content creator working with actors. Deanna here is very much qualified to talk about this because she's not only a voice actress herself, but she has also helped cast projects for both me and other content creators as well. With that being said, we're just gonna to pull a YouTube reference, since she's also very in the know and loves the YouTube references. Let's just jump right into it. Okay.
That's Moose's bit from last episode.
Yeah.
The budget is so tight right now that we
can't even afford to script new bits.
Yeah.
All right. My first question, Deanna. In your opinion, what are the basics for anyone who's looking to get into voice acting work? Not just in this community, but generally speaking. So, do you need to invest in an expensive microphone, or should you just use what you have and then kind of work your way up if you really want to go with it? Do you have to be a good impressionist, in order to be a good voice actor or actress? Or do you just have to be able to emote and showcase inflection in your voice? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it kind of depends on how you get into voice acting to begin with. There's all sorts of genres out there, and there's so many different unique ways to get involved in this amazing line of work. I mean, my story is kind of unconventional because you actually helped me get into voice acting, Michael. I always wanted to try it because I'm a big theater fan and I love acting and singing, and I always loved cartoons growing up. I looked up to voice actresses like Tara Strong, and it was so cool. I would love to be able to lend my voice to some of these really cool characters. And so when I found out that you were doing stop motion animation and voice acting, I thought, you know what? How about I have you ask around for me? Maybe some of your friends need a female voice actress. And sure enough, Swagwave came around and he was looking for a Black Widow voice actress. I auditioned and it turned into something really cool. And now I get to do all these fantastic characters just through word of mouth. I got to meet some really awesome people. And to your other half of the question, no, you don't need a really expensive microphone. I started out literally with an iPhone headset and an iPhone mic recording into my phone, and it just grew from there. Obviously now I've upgraded to a Blue Snowball microphone that we use, and it's not the top line mic, but it's a relatively non-expensive mic that gets the job done. I made a sound dampening box out of cardboard and sound dampening foam, and I love it. And I think in regards to figuring out where you'd want to go in voice acting, you kind of have to figure out your sound. For me, for example, because I do a lot of stop motion animation for Marvel and DC, I get to pick characters that I get to sound like, or I get to do completely original characters. So you kind of have to figure out what your strong suit is. Are you better at impersonations? Are you better at coming up with original voices? Are you good at accents? And it's all just a really big exploration game, figuring out what you're good at. You make mistakes as you go along, but it's just so much fun.
Alrighty, I now pinpoint this question to Daniel.
Oh, I get the torch. So
your move. Passing over
the proverbial and literal microphone.
Blue Snowball. I'm passing it from Deanna to you since I think we all use the same Snowball microphone.
We do, yeah.
Which
Do
I
we
also
actually?
joked about. Yeah, I think so. And I think Warren also uses a War TV 14 also uses one because this was the cold open for episode 2 of the podcast.
It's a good mic. It's a really good mic for
It's so
not that
comprehensive.
expensive.
We all have blue snowballs.
Well, you just revealed my hand.
Mm-hmm.
That was my answer. Like, I do use a blue snowball, but I was gonna add.
I'm sorry. The floor is yours. Take it away, my guy. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't really. I was gonna say I didn't really start as a voice actor. I was more of a content creator, animator, writer, and editor for people, and was hardly ever approached for roles until, someone needed a thug or a goon, whether it be number 1, number 8. It was just like a goon type deal, so I never prepared for that kind of thing. I didn't have a lav mic or even the Blue Snowball. I just used my iPod at the time because it wasn't something I wanted to pursue. But then when I realized that I wanted to make something off of it, I knew I couldn't just use a headset or earphones. So I invested in, as you said, Blue Snowball microphone, and also have a pop filter on it. So that's what I use. It's not a professional setup, but it is a setup. So voila.
Flourish.
Voila.
Oh,
And now, Michael, I throw the snowball.
Ow, that hurt. It's not an actual snowball, dude. It's made of, metal and shit. Fuck. Okay, before I really dive into my own answer, I kind of want to piggyback on Deanna's a little bit in terms of her origin story. I just wanted to say, what can I say except you're welcome?
Oh. You had me there with origin story.
All right, now we're demonetized again. I'm sorry.
I just got a phone call, Michael. Can you cut it out?
Disney's
The budget was spent, and you're over here needlessly spending on covers.
I guess demonetized plus overspending our budget on episodes. I'm clearly in my element with my
not to mention the overtime.
Not to mention the overtime. My bachelor's degree is really paying off here.
Good for you, man.
In regards to my origin story with it, it's very similar to Deanna's and similar to yours in a sense. my background with voice acting stems from my love of theater acting, stage acting, which Deanna was a little bit of a hobby hopper because I started doing theater and then she started doing theater. I started doing voice acting, then she started doing voice acting. But ironically enough, she's better at both than I am.
Hey,
she's gone a little bit further than me.
Who was in all the dance recitals growing up? Who really started it?
You're not wrong, but still.
Damn, that backstory was beautiful. What a tearjerker.
But yeah, so
love hobby hopping though. That is an iconic.
I gotta coin that. I gotta make royalties off of that. That's how I'll make up for all of the demonetization.
You sell merch.
See? Boom. Fixed your problem. But to dive into my origin story a little bit. Again, theater acting, stage acting, that's kind of my starting point. Aside from that, similar to Deanna, I love doing impressions of characters I saw in my favorite TV shows and movies and cartoons. And because of my impressionist passion and my love of acting, I was able to kind of merge those two hobbies as I was diving into my filmmaking habits and my stop motion animation habits with my Stealthabotte identity and persona. So with that, when I was creating that channel and its content, I was also looking around, shopping around to other people's projects, seeing if they had casting calls or auditions where I could potentially play a character for them, even though I was a complete and utter noob. I was Noob Master 69, just hoping I could do something somewhere. And I would reach out in the comments or send an email. I would record all of my voice acting work on an iPod Touch, originally the 4th gen and then the 5th gen, which is also what I used to film my stop motion animations. So that device was for both my filming and my voice acting. And then eventually I upgraded to an iPhone for voiceover work. And then finally, we were able to get our hands on a blue Snowball, which is now my current daily driver for voice acting. But yeah, I dabbled into a bunch of different projects from creators both big and small. I just really loved working in this space, voicing for characters that I grew up with, that I really loved and idolized and was really passionate about portraying. The mic itself isn't really a big deal. It's really just a tool that captures the performance that you're providing. It's not really about the mic so much as it is about you, even though having a slightly better mic will help. But don't worry about breaking the bank if you can't really afford it. Work within your limitations. And if you're passionate enough and if you can eventually work your way up to be able to afford it, then go for it and try to invest in something that might help your quality just sound a little bit better. Always try to use cheaper stuff if you can and just learn it to make yourself as good as possible within that. So although I've worked with Adobe Audition for sound editing and voice editing, I still use Audacity. That's what I'm using right now, and that's free. So again, you don't have to worry about expensive mics or software in order to be a good voice actor. Mm-hmm. And the same thing applies with being a good impressionist. You don't have to be good at impressions to be good as an actor. They are two separate things. Yeah, they kind of work hand in hand, and good for you if you're good at both. You can still be good only being able to do one or the other. So if you're good at impressions, then run with that. If you're good at just using your own voice and showcasing emotion and inflection and tone and feelings with just what you can say or sing or scream or shout or whatever it is that you use your voice for, then go for that too, or go for that instead. And when it comes to mediums, there are so many options and opportunities. You can start by being a stop motion voice actor, or you could do voice acting for live action filmmaking. In the YouTube related space, you could be doing dubs of pre-existing work, or you could be doing covers and other things using other platforms such as Smule, which Deanna, I know you're very familiar with that. Mm-hmm. And you've been able to make a lot of connections and contacts because of that platform versus YouTube. So there are plenty of different avenues you can explore. There are plenty of different content types that you can explore too, more than just, filmmaking or audio drama stuff or dubs. There's like commercials. There's a whole bunch of other things that you can utilize your voice for. But either way, the bare necessities for it is to just jump right in and do it and find a place to do it. Find the means that you have to do it and just do it. In the wisdom of Shia LaBeouf.
Also, make sure you love doing it, because if you're not really all that sure about the project you're a part of and you don't give 100% to it.
Yeah, if your heart's not in it and you're half-assing it, then
you can tell.
Why?
Right.
You can tell when the passion's not there. If you're a voice actor and you want to start and you genuinely love what you do, it won't be like work. It's like how that saying goes, if you love your work, you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly. Now, let's flip this coin, shall we? Let's go to the other side of the equation. So, what are the basics for anyone looking to cast actors? This is also a question for both Deanna as well as Daniel and me, because we've all been in a position where we've had to cast people as well as be voice actors. So I was a bit of a voice actor and stop motion animator. Daniel, you're a little bit more of a stop motion animator. Deanna, you're more of a voice actor. So we each kind of have a unique perspective on this. And we've also done both sides of the job. Daniel, you're also a voice actor at times. And Deanna, you've helped cast projects for me and other people. This question is, what do you guys look for when you're trying to find actors, and how do you approach them? Whether you're holding auditions or if you're just making direct contact, where do you begin? How do you go about doing that? Deanna, you first.
Sure. Well, the number one thing for me is respect. Respect is always a two-way street. I don't care if you're a brand new creator just starting out or if you're a veteran, you've been doing this a long time. If you're not respectful, I'm not going to want to work with you. I'm not saying we have to be best friends, but I want there to be that level of professionalism and that we know there's going to be a level of respect, kindness, and accountability. So if I'm reaching out for an audition or to inquire about a project, the number one thing I always like to do is introduce myself. If I voice the character for somebody else, I'll maybe send a few references if they're looking for that. If it's an original character, I'll kind of tell them what I'm good at doing, like my strong accents I'm able to do, whether I'm better with lower registered characters versus high registered characters, and a lot of times they will ask me if there's multiple female characters, which one I would like to voice. So if I'm more familiar with one, I'll pick them. If they are reaching out to me, the first thing that I do is I look and see who the person is that is asking me to be a part of the project. And so I'll check out their channel. And for me, it's not completely about quality of animation or sound quality, although that does matter, because if I'm putting in a lot of work to make sure my sound sounds good, I want to make sure that the work I'm putting in is the same level that you're giving back. I've had the opportunity to work with creators first starting out and creators who've been doing this a long time and everything in between. And it's been really cool to get to be a part of people's journeys at creating these amazing projects and to get to say, hey, I helped them bring that character to life. But I will typically look for their animation quality, I will see if they're mixing sounds well, and then I will see what character they would like me to play. And if it's a character I think I can do, I will respond to them and say, yes, of course, I'm very much interested in playing this character for you. And then I kind of want to work out a deadline. When do you need the lines by? How would you like to get in contact with me about the script? Do you want to send it via Instagram or my email? And I try to get all those details right out of the way so I can get right to work focusing on the characters. And a lot of times, if they're asking for a character that has a particular voice, I'll have them send me a reference video. So say they want me to sound like Harley Quinn, for example. I'll ask them, which iteration of Harley Quinn would you like me to sound like? And they'd send me a video, and I would see if I can imitate that with my own twist on it. And if I think I can do it effectively, I'll accept the role. Unfortunately, it's hard when you find a character you don't think you can play or you don't feel you can do justice, and then you have to tell them no, or if you're too busy, or if my schedule fills up all the time. There are so many requests in my Instagram DM that I never get a chance to answer, and I always feel bad about that, but you try to get to every single one you can, and you answer them as politely as possible when you try to decline. I'll only touch shortly on the creating side of things because I know you guys definitely will have a lot more talking points than me. I do a lot of script writing and assistant script writing with my friends, and I help with plot development, and I consult on who I think, based on like the characters and the actors that they have to pick from, who I think would be best for a character. So I'll think about the actor's strengths and weaknesses. I'll think about their range as far as pitch and if they're able to do accents. And then I'll say, hey, this person would do really good as this. They've never voiced this before, but I know their voice is capable of this. Or on the opposite side of the coin, hey, this person's voiced that character before. We can trust them as this character. They know the message, they know the character, and they'll be able to portray it effectively. If the voice actor is nice and they are showing that level of professionalism, it's going to make me want to work with them that much more. And now I will pass the mic to you guys because you definitely have probably thousands of more stories about casting and figuring out who you guys want.
All right. Are you ready to throw it?
Throw the mic? Hoya! I throw it to Daniel.
Come on, man.
I'm not a sports person.
Now you know how it feels.
I just got this implant. No,
Oh
The basics.
What implant?
My cheek.
Oh, you had to replace the chocolate chip because you were a cookie?
Yeah. So in terms of just holding auditions, because I do that more than I do really audition for anything, casting calls are a matter of whether or not you really think that they're you kind of have to know what you want for your project as well before you start really dipping your toes into asking people, because you're not gonna put up a casting call that says looking for this and that. You want to be straight to the point. You want to be detailed in your request or your listing. You want to have a reasonable approach. Like, most of my casting calls are professional, but also I have a banter in there so that I don't scare them off. And then when it comes to just casting them, knowing, again, the characters and the ins and outs of that character, whether or not their quality of their mic quality is good, or they capture the essence of the character that you're looking for that particular voice. And in terms of just reaching out to people that I know instead of holding casting calls, if it's a person that I've known a while, it'll be just like messaging them on every other day. So, for example, I messaged Michael a while back to voice an Arkham Garden Under the Dark, and he was like, "You know what? I'm gonna do my absolute best work and record it on my phone."
I hate you.
And it was his best work, actually.
Wow. Wow. All right.
But yeah. So it's if I'm close with a certain person, and I know I have that kind of relationship with them, I can reach out and ask for their help and assistance. In Under the Dark's case, after the fact of casting them, I knew I had to put them all in a Discord server, get them all to mingle, get to know each other, play a couple of games, talk for a couple of hours before we actually started doing anything crazy like a table read. I wanted them to kind of build a bond so that they trust each other and they aren't just sending lines back and forth and feeling the obligation of the heavy workload that is requesting and receiving, because we don't want it to be stressful. We want it to be fun, down to earth, while also keeping that level of maturity and professionalism in the specific space, maintaining the balance of keeping it respectable.
Alrighty. So,
toss that snowball.
All right, Michael, here it comes.
All right, I got it. I don't got it, but it's okay. It's right here. I'll pick it up. All right. So there's good news and bad news with what I have to say. And you guys, it's actually the same news, because the good news and bad news is that I don't really know where else to go with this, because you guys both kind of said almost everything I would have. Well, so yay, I get to talk less.
Isn't that a first, ladies and gentlemen?
I know, right?
He's speechless.
But I will do my best to kind of, think on the fly, improvise. It's my job as an actor, and my bachelor's degree will hopefully help me out here. So let me try to fill in the blanks a little bit. From my experience as a voice actor, similar to how Deanna said, when she looks into voicing for certain people, you look at their profile and you kind of see the work that they've done, if any, or you see how they reach out to you, if they're reaching out first, making contact with you. It's kind of like you have to do that background check both ways. So as a casting director, I look at different actors' work and I see what they've done, if anything. I try to assess their range a little bit, and the vice versa. If I'm looking to possibly consider a project, I'm looking at their work and seeing something I'd want to be part of. Either they have potential or they're already doing some really cool stuff. And I really love giving a chance to creators both big and small with that. But yeah, so do your research on whoever's approaching you. When you're looking to cast an actor, it also doesn't hurt to acknowledge the fact that you know their work. So people who, and I guess is a little bit of insight into my mind, it might give you brownie points if you're looking to cast me. If you acknowledge the fact that you've witnessed my work somewhere else and said, "Oh, I loved your performance in this," or "Oh, I really like how you do this voice," that's going to help you a long way into earning my respect, because it shows that you maybe took the time to actually consider me for all that I've done and everything that I could do for you, working in collaboration. On the other side of the equation, networking is something that's very important, getting to know different people, having a sort of fun but also simultaneously professional relationship with whoever it is that you're working with. You kind of don't want to lose that at any point in time if you ever feel like a project is becoming a burden and you don't really want to be in it as much anymore. Your performance, even though you try to give it your all, it might not necessarily reach those levels. As a casting director, I always try to keep communication open and I try to establish a rapport of some kind. And vice versa, as an actor, I'm always trying to ask questions in order to sort of get into the head of whoever I'm working with and figure out what it is that they want from me or expect from me. So similar to Deanna saying, which version of this character would you want me to try and portray? Or what kind of voice are you looking for this character if there isn't a precedent already set? And obviously, bottom line, respect. Especially when it comes to reaching out and then talking about the conditions of which you would be working with this person in whatever capacity, whether it be as a casting director or as an actor, knowing in advance what is expected of you beyond just the voice itself, but how much time you have to do the lines, like deadlines, how many lines there are, what it's going to involve from you. So do you need to do fight sounds? Is there a lot of yelling? Is it a voice that will require additional post-production processing? So filters and edits and stuff like that. And same thing with the project, whoever it is that they're working on. How exactly are they going to edit it into their video? Are they going to do a good job at showcasing your voice, or are they going to potentially muffle it based on how they balance the other elements in an edit, such as music or sound effects, stuff like that? How much time there is for your work to be shown, so the pacing of a video. All that stuff kind of factors into the basics for looking to cast or looking to be cast. So kind of keep all that in mind. I know that's a lot that I've thrown out there, but yeah, that's kind of that was my attempt to fill in the blanks here, because admittedly they kind of took everything else that I was going to say and ran with it. I'm also realizing we didn't at all acknowledge accents in the first question.
I brought up accents.
So I kind of wanted to quickly touch back on that too while I was at it. You don't have to be good at accents.
Oh, you don't have to be.
You don't have to be good at accents in order to be a good voice actor or a good impressionist either. That's a skill that you can work on and develop, just like impressions you can work on and develop.
Right.
It's a process.
Again, if your passion bleeds into your work, people will not be able to discern what is work and what is craft.
Yep.
You have basically exerted all your effort into making sure that character, because you love playing this part, that it doesn't seem like playtime. It just feels normal, right?
Couldn't agree more.
That passion should factor into how you approach other people, because if you're passionate about doing something or making something or performing in something, hopefully that's a mutually understood thing. Hopefully whoever it is that you're working for is just as passionate about what they do as you are about what you do.
Hey Michael,
so
remember when I reached out for the first time?
Big professional email and everything. Versus, hey, can you voice this Arkham guard?
Nasally
guard. Like, can you, literally, we were on a Discord call. He's like, hey, do you want to do this for me? I'm like, bro, what? And I literally had to record it on the fly because his approach changed from sending a big professional fancy email to just like, hey, yeah, by the way, I need a voice for this. Do it. Dance, monkey, dance.
In my defense, I still needed to commit to... Well, he needed to commit to his obligation to cameo in each one of my videos, so I was just doing my part.
And that's another thing you should know. Negotiate contracts up front if there is a contract.
Know the deets.
Oh, gosh.
Know the deets.
I learned that the hard way. That's why I stress, I try to get all the information out of the way right ahead of time. And I love that, Michael, that you talked about, post-production and editing. That is so important, figuring out who is actually going to be the person doing that, if it's going to be you editing it or the creator. And it's so funny you said that. I literally had not thought about this in years. There was a Transformers project I was supposed to be a part of years ago. I don't know what happened to it, but I'll never forget. I had 50 or so lines for this character. I had just gotten them all done. I love how they turned out. And I sent them in. The creator reaches out to me. He goes, they were awesome. Problem. I forgot to tell you the character is British. And I went, oh. Okay. So I then had to go back and re-record 50 lines in British, sent them in, and then he goes, I'm so sorry, I forgot to tell you, I wanted to sound more posh British, and I went, oh my god.
I hope they're not listening to this, whoever they are.
Well, if they are listening to this, take notes.
And that's exactly it. I didn't mind re-recording for this guy at all. If he is listening, no worries. I had a ton of fun. But that is a very important thing to bring up, is that make sure you get all of that stuff figured out in the beginning. That way re-records don't have to happen as often. Of course, a creator, I've definitely been asked to re-record a line like, hey, can you say that a little happier? Or can you do that laugh a little different? Which is bound to happen because a creator has a vision of what they want for the character. So that is something that also comes with the territory, is be prepared to have corrections. But the most important thing is respect and communication. I think if we've gotten anything from these fun stories, is respect and communication.
If there is one takeaway, that should be it.
Mm-hmm.
What you guys have just been saying is also another really good point. There is a give and take when it comes to working as a voice actor or working as a creator. Obviously, with a director and actor dynamic, you have to sort of understand that you might not be able to perfect a vision one way or another. You might not totally see eye to eye. There's a middle ground, a compromise that can be made between what the actor thinks something should be and what the director wants it to be. If you have a certain vision in mind and it needs to be tailored to that and be specific to it, then you want to try and work as closely to that as possible. But at the same time, if you're a director,
you don't want to do their jobs for them.
Yeah, be open and willing to consider alternatives. So maybe there's, at least for my process as a voice actor, I read the line as is first. I didn't always, but now I do. Read the line as it's written and in the ways that you think it can be interpreted in any way possible, and then maybe swap out a couple of words or maybe do a completely different line. Who knows? The actor might come up with something better than what the creator had in mind. Or maybe the creator's advice might shape how you would approach a character in a completely different light. And that might make all the difference in order to build a better final product in the end. So, I have more good news, bad news. I kind of shot myself in the foot a little bit because we killed two birds with one stone in terms of the outline questions. So all I'm going to really add to this is, can we talk about certain specific things, such as how flexible should deadlines be for voice acting, in your opinion? How many lines is fair? Is it going to require a lot of time to commit to?
Oh, yeah.
Is it a certain voice that might be harder to perform than another voice that comes a little bit more naturally? When is something too flexible versus when is something too strict? And what are your kind of parameters for whether or not you'd commit to a project for deadlines, number of lines, and the commitment that's required of them in terms of time and physical dedication to the performance as, recording and post-production process? And what is your expectation for a character and the content that they appear in? A lot of information to throw out. Talk about the specifics that you kind of look for in those regards.
I'll cover the kind of like finding that balance side of things. That way we don't end up saying the same thing over and over. I think for me, just finding the balance with the deadline has to do with who you're working with. As Michael, you mentioned earlier that like I'm involved in some Smule projects. I am in a Barbie recreation group that is called Be Anything Barbie, and there's a lot of different people that are in that group. I am currently one of the graphics directors, and I am helping to write our newest production. That is a secret, so can't say anything. But one of the things that we look at with that sort of thing is who is available for what and when recording times work best. That is partly because Smule and the way their system works is you all record on the same recording one line at a time. It's not like you send in your individual thing and then someone splices it together. But I guess the thing that you can take away from that and just doing more traditional voice acting is when you're given a deadline or you're giving a deadline, you want to give enough time for that actor to plan in their schedules when they can record and be able to dedicate enough time and thought into that character to make the voice sound well. Say you send the script out on March 3rd and you say lines due March 5th, most likely the lines that you're going to get are not going to be as good of quality as if you had said, hey, send these lines to me the week of March 10th. Giving the actor a little bit more time to think about what they want for the character, time to edit the audio if they're doing that, and figure out what it is that makes that character tick so they can properly bring that character to life for you. As far as me for specific deadlines, I don't like to give dates, but ironically, I like to receive a specific date from a creator. So it's kind of interesting how my brain works with that. When I ask for a deadline, I'm cool with them saying, hey, get it to me by this date, or get it to me by the week of this or the month of this. If I'm giving a deadline, I typically would say, hey, get this to us by next month, or get this to us by the week of this date. Because from my experience and the groups that I've been a part of, giving a specific date doesn't always work because emergencies come up, people have lives, they've got families, they've got jobs and school. So you have to be flexible with working with that, but you also have to know where you draw the line and is someone taking advantage of your generosity or are they genuinely just busy? So I have always found that giving a expected deadline of a week or the month of works best. And now do I throw the curveball? I'm going to change things up. Michael, I throw the snowball at you. What?
Oh, come on, man. I wasn't expecting that. Okay. So for me, I have similar answers in some regards and different ones in other ways. Because I see both sides of the story here, when I'm giving deadlines, I try to give plenty of time because I know that I need plenty of time. I don't always have the time to meet certain deadlines, and literally that can be the make or break for me accepting projects, even if I want to do them. I might just not have enough time to juggle that and everything else I'm doing with all the existing commitments on my plate for voice acting and everything else beyond it. As an actor, I like to receive a concrete deadline, but it needs to be at least 2 weeks or more. Sometimes I can get stuff in earlier. I used to have a great turnaround time, but now it's a little bit different. I have a lot more going on. And I try to keep that in mind when I set deadlines. I usually give 3 weeks to a month whenever I'm asking for voiceover work. When it comes to how many lines there are, I'm not super picky in terms of number, but the time I have to do them should be proportionate to the time that it takes to record those lines and the amount of them that there are. If I have a huge boatload bulk of lines, I should have like a full day to dedicate at some point in time to whatever it is that I'm working on that requires that much work from me. But yeah, that's the gist of what I had to say. Daniel, you ready?
No.
Yeah, yeet!
Haha, you missed me again. Again, y'all answered that for me. That was kind of, in terms of deadlines, I just go with whatever works best and whatever's most convenient. I usually ask for lines way ahead of time. I rarely ever, because it sucks when you have to wait for the lines and then you animate to the lines. You know what I mean? So what I do is I animate first and then I ask for the lines so that it could follow the direction I had in mind, while also, because you don't want an actor going berserk on their microphone when all you've animated is just a couple of scenes of
that's
static.
A tricky thing to acknowledge, because it's like some people animate before they get the lines and then they can only work within the limitations of how much time they have unless they can expand in the edit, and then some people wait to film until they get the lines and then they use that to shape the way in which they film a project. So that's another good thing to ask.
Not to mention, some creators don't always send the full script. Sometimes they'll just send you your lines, so the context is missing. And so
true.
you can record a line one way, but then the creator will come back and say, no, I wanted it sassy.
And the meaning that's trying to be conveyed is completely amiss.
Exactly.
The communication is lost because the performance contradicts the intended meaning.
And you don't want that. You don't want it skewed, which is why you want to... What I do anyway is I send the entire script.
Or you put notes in, or like the lines that are in between, or like say, hey, you're supposed to be happy here, you're supposed to be angry here.
You're not just a creator receiving lines, you're also a director, so do some directing.
And a storyteller.
Pro tip, put acting directions in your script.
Yes,
and
please.
Also preferably send the whole script so the actor has the option to read the other things that happen before or after they say lines, because context is key in order to communicate the meaning that you're trying to convey. It is so crucial. Having the secretive nature and only knowing your parts and your lines, yeah, sure, you could still probably make a performance work, but giving the choice and the option and just trusting that actor to not spoil what it is that you're doing, that might help you a little bit more in the long run. Also, good thing to note, you might want to ask, how soon do you need these lines? Or how soon can you record these lines? Giving the actor or giving the creator the choice to express, giving them that opportunity to tell you if they don't immediately come out with it is a good way to build upon your communication with them, build upon your relationship with them, because sometimes things are lost in translation. Sometimes you might get a script and you might never get a deadline, and then you don't realize that the work was due and it's already been done. The project's out and you're like, wait a minute, what happened? So it's important to reach out and ask about those things, and vice versa, to sort of really establish that trust in each other, in addition to, trusting each other with the content in the script and your ability to deliver upon it.
Don't just be a part of it, be part of it.
You're working together. It's not all about the creator. It's not all about you as an actor. It's a partnership. It's a team building type of exercise. You're really in this initiative together, trying to do the best you can to make the best product possible.
The creator can't do the voices without the voice actors, and the voice actors have nothing to voice for if there's no creators. You're in it together.
permission to sidebar as a segment tangent talk?
Sure.
All right. Well, I got questions for both of y'all because all this voice actor talk really keeps
I'm open to the ideas.
So, when it comes to you guys as voice actors, it's a rarity to find a voice actor who's also taken the stage and done theater work.
Mm-hmm.
And with theater work, it implies that you have to be kept on your toes, you have to be ready for anything and improvise on the fly, you have to be alert, you have to bounce off of your fellow actors. How does that experience on stage reflect your work as a voice actor in the booth?
Absolutely. Our experience in theater has definitely helped us work on our tone. One of the classes I had in college for my theater class was putting the correct emphasis on a certain syllable, completely changing the meaning of a sentence. And like, you could literally say, how is the sky blue? Or how is the sky blue? Or how is the sky blue? How is the sky blue? Like, it has completely different meanings depending on how you emphasize it. And that kind of ties back into making sure you understand the meaning of your lines. But the same thing is very, very much true for theater. The only difference is with theater, you have your face and your body, sets, props, and other actors to base everything off of. In voice acting, it is just your voice. They don't get to see the faces or the hand gestures you're making behind the mic, so your voice has to literally tell it all. And so our experience in theater has definitely helped with that because it kind of ties into what I was saying about getting to know your character. If you know the backstory and you know what the character's thinking about and you know what their intention is the most important thing. Say you have a character that doesn't have quite a clear backstory and you kind of have to put the pieces together. Put yourself in that character's shoes and say, hey, how would that make me feel if I was in that situation? And then use that raw emotion and put it in your voice.
Not to mention the differences and the contrast between having to get louder in an auditorium for the stage versus just like the microphone's right in front of you.
Projection.
You can be quiet. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yes, projection is key in theater, whereas mics, you can kind of adjust your audio after you've recorded it. So yeah, that's a very interesting difference.
Yeah. I'm always sort of acting kind of the same way, like I'm giving it my all, even if you can't see my performance from behind a microphone. I am very much physically acting with my face and my body as I'm giving a performance. Mm-hmm. In times where I've recorded with Deanna, especially when I voiced the Hulk.
Oh gosh.
You literally see the veins popping out of my neck. You see my skin turning red. My jaw's unhinged.
He was sweating by the time he was done. You see the sweat
coming off my face.
His eyes turning green.
You literally see my hands clenching into fists. I am roaring. Full on pure rage coursing through my veins, through my body, pumping it all out into that performance that's going into a microphone that no one gets to see, except for whoever's bearing witness to it. Now, similar to the whole thing,
you need to record that whole session. We need that
clips.
footage.
Oh God, no, that's.
I have some clips of it.
God,
it was a sight.
Please.
So when I voice Hulk, when I voice Daredevil, if I'm like when I was doing the voiceover dub for Daredevil in season 3, I was literally mimicking Charlie Cox's performance as Daredevil, Matt Murdock, in those scenes, doing the same body movements that he's doing in order to capture the exact same feel that he was giving, except putting my own little unique spin on it. There's a balance between trying to do an impression and trying to, cultivate your own performance from it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of just a change in setting and atmosphere and the conditions in which you're working with.
And making sure that you don't bang the mic with your hand while you're making a hand movement.
Yeah, making sure you don't knock over the mic.
Right, that is that's another
Use
thing,
your-
because when your entire body's involved, you have all these weird movements that could easily be picked up by the microphone.
Plus,
So
if you're
it's-
directing your voice in a different direction, so say if I'm talking directly at the mic versus tilting my head or my body in a different way, or if my voice is pinging off of the environment I'm recording in, the room that I'm in, or the walls, or anything within those walls.
Whether it's carpeted or hardwood floor.
Right. Sometimes I voice act in my room and I have a metal loft bed frame. So sometimes you hear the ping that rings off whenever you hear my voice. If I go to a certain volume, you might hear that. It depends on the physical situation and it depends on what you're willing to give and who's willing to listen to what you have to give to sort of shape how it is that you approach whatever it is that you're doing.
Does that make your job...
Yeah, really good questions.
So, follow-up, does that experience make your job easier or harder?
Both, yes.
Yes. Yeah. There really is no right or wrong answer because, I mean, they say knowledge is power, but also
all depends on the project.
To be oblivious is bliss.
Yeah, the circumstances are constantly changing. So it all kind of depends. It's all in flux. Yeah, it's a give and take.
Moral of the story, our theater background definitely helps us, but it also makes us a lot harder on ourselves because we hold ourselves to a higher expectation.
So, we are here. We are at the finish line because we have one more point to talk about. And this is very particular to Deanna versus, just the two of us.
Those are 3 musical numbers, Michael.
I know, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Deal with it. What is it like being a female voice actor? And what has your experience been compared to your understanding of your male peers? What is it like being a woman in this space? Have you been limited to doing certain voices, like natural voices? Are you allowed to experiment a little bit more with character voices in order to stand out from other women who might have a similar voice to yours? Is it more or less competitive for parts or for voices? Have you faced difficulty trying to do a more masculine or a more feminine voice? What's the demand like between the gender gap in a sense? What are your thoughts on this, Deanna?
Okay, wow. A lot of questions to unpack there.
Wait, don't forget the snowball.
Oh, okay. Hi-ya! Got it. Ooh, man, you kind of scratched the thing, man. Be careful.
I'm sorry,
Jeez.
I had to curveball it,
Those things don't come cheap, man. Get it together.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a lot of questions, but just to unpack certain parts of it, I will always preface this by saying being a voice actress over the last 6 to 7 years has been one of the most amazing experiences I've had. I've had so many opportunities to work with so many amazing people. I've got to be a part of so many cool projects. Some things that I never would have expected. A few years ago, I got to be the voice of my mom's friend's English as a Second Language DVD. My voice is basically what they hear for the final exam and they have to translate it. I get to be a part of this video game where my face physically gets scanned onto the character that I play. Those are experiences that I never thought I'd ever have when my voice acting journey first began. But as you said, there are some differences with me being a female, and it mostly has to do with demand for parts and the types of roles that I play and how big of an impact that character is in a plot. So because I primarily do imitation-based characters from like Marvel, DC, and Transformers, Marvel and DC are definitely starting to go along more female-oriented lines. And they're making the characters more main characters with original plots, motivations, and they're not just there to be decoration or to assist the male characters. So I definitely am getting more opportunities as the world is changing. But I've definitely been a part of plenty of projects where I only get to voice 1 to 2 lines, whereas the male characters have like 30 to 50. And I'm always grateful for however many lines I get because I'm just honored to be a part of it. I know for some people, it definitely gets to them after a while when they're just voicing the same types of character over and over. For me and my voice, I have a lower register. I typically end up playing characters that are either villains or more nurturing motherly characters. There's definitely been a few outliers where I voice higher pitched characters like Nickel, an evil transformer in a Halloween stop motion, and I've voiced higher pitched characters, I think for a Star Wars project back in the day, but I typically play the same type of character over and over. And it can get boring from time to time because I often voice multiple characters for the same creator, and it's difficult when all of those characters are in the same stop motion because I sound the same on all of them. And I always worry that people are going to think, oh my gosh, she's voicing the same character again. Can't she play someone different? And again, I've had wonderful opportunities to voice characters with very original voices. Like I recently just voiced Rio Morales for a stop motion. I voiced a head widow, so I had a very thick Russian accent. Another character I got to do, which is one of my favorites, is Nebula, and I get to do that raspy voice, and I got to scream for my life, and it was such a fun opportunity to get to do. I definitely find myself voicing the same type of character, but I always try to find new ways to make it exciting and fun and to draw the character in so it has the same appeal as if it was a brand new character. As far as getting jobs, it definitely depends where you're looking for jobs. Here in our stop motion community, I am never not busy with a voice acting job. I am constantly getting requests. And part of that is due to the fact that there aren't a lot of females within this community. The biggest thing that I can say is I often get approached because I'm a girl, even if I'm not particularly suited for that character. They're just happy that I'm a female and that I could possibly voice the character. So that kind of stinks that there isn't that many people to voice, and I don't get to meet a lot of female creators within this community. On Smule, I definitely think it is the complete opposite. There are far less guys in the Smule community, and that's partially because it is a singing-related app, and there is a lot more musical-based things and Disney-based voice acting where singing and more melodic voice acting opportunities come about. So guys are a lot harder to find. I guess to frame it all up, being a female has both its advantages and disadvantages. I have definitely been very lucky in my journey, and I've had some amazing, amazing opportunities, and I love it. But it's not to say that it hasn't been because of very hard work and a very big amount of passion, because I love what I do, and it's worth every single struggle.
Well said.
Great way to wrap that up.
Thank you.
I do think that while the demand for female voice actors is incredibly high, it's also important to note that compared to how many times you've done the same role over and over again, I think you still managed to turn in a fantastic performance every time. So that's kudos to you.
Thank you, Daniel. That means a lot.
Agreed.
What about you, Michael?
Oh,
did you have anything you want to add?
I'm waiting for the snowball.
Chuck it on.
Oh, sorry. Oh no, I aimed it for your head, duck!
I got it. You almost got me, though.
Damn it.
And I would have been mad at you.
Damn it.
I know my head is a big and easy target, but I'm glad you missed.
It's like it's magnetic. The mic just kind of flew out of my hand.
So, being the other, more active voice actor here, I mean, Daniel, I know you're kind of retired in a sense.
I'm sorry, you're... Hold on. You're retired?
In a sense.
This is information. You're retired?
From voice acting, because I don't really see myself as a person who's passionate enough. And we were talking about it earlier. I don't see myself... If I don't see myself passionate about something enough, why even do it?
Huh.
So we did say that earlier.
Wow.
Yeah, so I figured I'd...
Talk about practicing what you preach.
Hey, listeners, if you're listening to this on YouTube and you're mad about it, comment down below. Maybe you can campaign to bring him back.
No.
Hashtag we want chocolate chip cookie now.
Ah, yes.
Hashtag release the cookie cut.
Release the cookie cut.
That's awesome.
See, for me, it's the opposite. I'm kind of limited to the fact that thank God I'm good at character voices, because those are the only ones I'm typically asked to do. It is very, very rare for me to be asked to do my regular normal speaking voice without having to do something to it. So doing some kind of an accent or rasp or growl, or if I need to do it lower or higher than my natural speaking voice, if I need to do sound editing, or if I have to just, do an impression. But that doesn't mean my workload is any less. And like you said, Deanna, it's an incredible gift to be able to do this. Even though this is a big community and there's a lot of people who do this in a lot of different media, this is still something that you don't really encounter day to day. You don't really see other people who are voice actors, who also have theater backgrounds especially. It's still a privilege to be able to do it for anybody, in any capacity, for any medium.
I think sometimes we forget just how special and unique of a job voice acting is. I kind of got my reminder of it when I was in my senior year of college, and I was doing my senior seminar paper, which is kind of like the final thing you do before you graduate. And because I was a communications and strategic digital media major, I got to use a voice acting project as my final thesis. I wrote a whole paper about it, and it's a project that I'm doing with a bunch of my friends. It was created by my buddy Chris, aka Skyflake, and he brainstormed it one night. And it's some of you guys might know it because I know that both Michael is in it, and I know that Daniel is a fan of it. It's called The Endangered, and I got to literally show my entire class how we made the series, how all the behind the scenes go with the recording, how even though none of us have ever actually met in real life, we all are great friends and we're working together to create something amazing. And getting to play the trailer for it in class was the coolest feeling, and I got to see my classmates' reactions to it, and they had so many questions, and they were just awestruck with what we had created, and it was so cool getting to see that, we're doing something really neat here, and not a lot of people get these opportunities, and it was a nice reminder to see that, hey, you're doing something cool. Be proud of it.
And there's something to be said, too, with the fact that sometimes the relationships that we have as content creators, as voice actors, with people who we've never met in the flesh, in person, sometimes those relationships and bonds are better than the ones that we have with people in person. There's
Honestly.
only a handful of people that I know in my actual life that I feel like I can trust and talk to as openly and honestly and as lovingly and as happily for as long as I can. Sometimes I don't get that, or most of the time I don't get that nearly as much as I do with the people that I've met through the work that I've done. Most of my friends that I talk to on a daily basis are ones that I've met because of my passion for this community, whether it be as a voice actor or a stop motion creator, someone interested in filmmaking, acting, writing, all of those things. So it's really exciting, it's really fun, and it's something that I'm truly grateful for. I count my lucky stars, and I'm very blessed. I know that's mutual with you as well, Deanna. But yeah, so that concludes the episode of the podcast that we've had. Deanna, thank you so much for being here and for being a part of this.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
And for everyone who's listening, regardless of the platform that you're on, feel free to check out who we are and what we do through the Animators Assembled Discord server. You could be a part of that even if you're not in the stop motion community or the voice acting community or any of that. You can join in at any time and be one of us, learn what it's like in depth. You could check out our social media. We do have an Instagram for Animators Assembled. We also have our own personal social media. If you're watching this on YouTube, our social media handles have been in the video for as long as it's been playing. If you're on Spotify or other podcast hosting sites, we do have links that are available and accessible. Or you could just look us up on whatever social media platform and you might find us. And stay tuned for more episodes of the podcast and more content that we have in store. But yeah, with that said,
to close things off, Deanna and Michael are going to improvise a scene
What?
that will
For what?
perfectly wrap this
no
entire thing
icebreakers
up.
have prepared
Go.
us for this.
Shh, no, yes, and remember? Well, Michael, I don't know about you, but I think this was a really great experience. I can't wait to do something like this again in the future.
Yeah, sure.
You know, Michael, I gave
that
you
was
so
material
much.
right there.
And I get, yeah, sure.
Hey, that was comedic gold. I don't know about you.
That is the
That
contrast.
was
That's how you can tell who the better
Oscar-worthy-
voice actor is.
That was an Oscar-worthy performance right there.
Yeah, sure.
And listen, audience, I'm not getting paid for this. I ain't getting paid a cent
Cut
for
the
this.
check.